Dun, dun, dun. All right. Remember to mute my notifications. Ooh. There we go. Good afternoon. It is noon-ish. 12:02 on Monday, March 23rd, 2020. I'm going to eat this last Swedish fish. Give people a couple minutes to sign on, log on, watch, should they so choose. Swedish fish are very sticky. So, this will be, today's recovery check-in brought to you with the power of Swedish fish. We really love Swedish fish. They're pretty amazing. Whew. So, it was a kind of busy weekend. It's been a busy morning for me. So it's nice to kind of sit and do this recovery check-in with y'all. So, as always, a couple updates, and we'll continue to update Hancock Helps as normal. So a couple new things is Lifeboat NA is going to be moving to an online meeting. So you can watch our Facebook page, and we'll be getting that information out as well. To kind of help. But if you run a 12-step group, you run a support group, if you run a group of any kind and you would like to move that meeting online in light of the new stay-at-home order, let me know. Send us a message, comment on this post, send us a message by Facebook, give us a call. We're happy to help provide you like a virtual meeting space so that way you can continue to connect with people. Excuse me. So, yeah. Oh, gratitude. Everything starts with gratitude, right? Hope starts with gratitude too. So, today's gratitude moment for me, I haven't thought about it. Kind of started my day kind of up and going and moving, and haven't stopped to think till about right now. There's always lots to be grateful for. I would say my gratitude for today is that I'm grateful for my competence. I'm grateful that I have the ability to manage a lot of stuff. I'm pretty good at handling things when they come my way. Not always. Let's be real clear about that. And but I'm in addition to yesterday being a resilient mofo, I'm also a pretty competent mofo. And so that is definitely something that I'm grateful for, because it's been a week last week, and we're going into this week and the next week while we are staying at home and keeping each other safe and healthy, and probably learning new things about ourselves and learning new things about the people that we maybe live with and interact with and all of that. So that's kind of going on a different kind of choo-choo train. But yeah, so I'm grateful for my competence. I'm grateful for being able to handle things that come my way. So today's recovery check-in, I want to talk about a couple things. So 2 things. That would be a couple. 3 would be a trio. So I want to talk about self-compassion, and I want to talk about simplifying. So I'm going to tell you a story about my morning. And, well, yes, I am grateful for being very competent and being able to problem solve. I'm a great problem solver. I really am. However, sometimes when I feel overwhelmed, when I feel stressed out, those problem solving skills kind of go out the window, and they don't kind of happen in the best way possible. So this morning, I was running around. I was getting my daughter ready. I was getting myself ready for the day. I teach a class on Monday mornings, and I don't know if you have ever had one of those days where like you got a case of fumble fingers and you drop everything, and just everything just seems a wee bit more difficult, and things just kind of annoy you. Little things that maybe didn't ever annoy you before annoy you now. And so the thing that was getting under my skin this morning were my socks. I'm going to be really honest. I was starting to be pretty curmudgeon-y and pretty not happy because my socks would not stay up. And so they were like falling down in my shoes. It was annoying the living crap out of me, and I was getting pretty frustrated about it. I was getting pretty angry about it, and I kept pulling them up, and I'm like, why aren't they staying up? These are freaking stupid socks. And things were going downhill in my brain pretty quickly. And then I had like this moment, and I paused, and I'm like, really, Ellyn? Really? You're going to let freaking socks derail your day? Much less socks that have sloths on them. I was wearing my sloth socks today. And so I was like, you know what? Take your socks off. It sounds really silly and maybe stupid. I don't even know, but I don't care because I'm not judging myself for that. Literally, no one today told me that I had to wear socks. No one. So I took my socks off. Sockless Ellyn, much happier. Because I don't have to worry about my socks not staying up. I don't have to worry about them falling in my shoes and crunching up on the toes. Oh, that just gets to me. So I gave myself permission. I practiced some self-compassion today and took my freaking socks off. Simple, easy, maybe silly, I don't know. But if you don't want to wear socks, if your socks are bothering you, take them off. So for me, that plays into self-compassion. I could have kept fighting the socks. I could have kept trying to pull them up, and then I'd walk 10 steps and they'd fall off my ankle. But no, that wasn't going to work. So I took my socks off, and that kind of leads me into that self-compassion moment of looking at and identifying, like, what are you holding on to? Are you holding on to maybe some fear? Are you holding on to anxiety, resentfulness, frustration? What are you holding on to that's not good for you, that is weighing you down, that is keeping you from showing up as the human being that you wanted to be? Me this morning, it was my socks. My socks were the manifestation of all the frustration that I have been feeling over the last probably couple weeks. And I had to learn let that go. So I was able to identify it. But what are you holding on to that's no longer positioning you to build to the life that you want to have, or show up as the human being that you want to be? And that might require you to sit in that uncomfortable feeling for a second. Just sit with it. Just be with it. Be mindful about it and identify it. I know it took me some time to be able to identify those feelings that I had. Was it frustration? Was it anger? Was it anxiety? Was it fearfulness? But now that I'm able to identify that, it makes it easier, because then I know what I'm holding on to, and then when I know what I'm holding on to, I can let it go. And letting it go is a super, super huge tool for me. And I may or may not sing the Frozen song in my head when I do it, because, I don't know, who wouldn't? She gets to wear a pretty dress, sing a pretty badass song. I like that. But when you let it go, for me, I'm letting go of self-imposed expectations of perfection, because that's something that I work on. But I'm also letting go of that ideal. So ideally I would wear socks because they would keep my feet warmer and all of that. But socks are falling down, not working for me, dragging me down, making me frustrated. So I take the socks off, and guess what? I have slippers. So I get to wear something that's less frustrating, that's nice and soft on the inside, keeps my feet warm, achieves the same purposes. Kind of in another example, over the weekend, I was holding on to frustration over situations that I could not control, mainly other people. There were some other people who were literally driving me up the wall, and there was nothing that I could do. It is not within my power to control them, and nor would I really want it to be, if I'm honest. And I was holding on to some frustration, and that was making me resentful, and that was making me kind of look at every single action that they did, every single word that they said from a not positive angle, not at all. And that was starting to weigh on me. That was starting to bring me down, because normally I am a person that I am happy and I'm confident and I'm resilient and I can see the good. And I was not seeing the good for that person anymore. So I identified that I was feeling that resentfulness. And, so like ideally in life, I want to be treated with kindness, and I want to be treated with respect, and I want to be treated nicely. That's the ideal. However, we live in a world where we are interacting with other people, and other people have crappy moments. I have crappy moments. Other people have crappy moments. We are human beings. We're not perfect. We are absolutely fallible. We make mistakes. We mess up. We do not always show up as our best human beings. And so, while ideally I want to be treated well every single day, that's not going to happen. That ideal does not match up with reality. I could say ideally I would like to, have a bubble bath every day. That's not going to match up with reality, because I'm not always going to have the time. I would like to be for others to treat each other with kindness every day. That's the ideal. That's not going to happen, because that's not our reality. We can certainly influence our reality by our behaviors, by our thoughts, and by showing up and taking good care of ourselves and practicing that self-compassion. And, because I talked yesterday about how, your behaviors and your hope and your sunshine can influence someone else. However, if you're holding on to that ideal, like for me, I was holding on to that ideal, and it was to the point it was causing me pain, emotional pain. And I got to that point where I was like, I gotta let that painful feeling go, and to let that painful feeling go means I have to let go of that ideal. I have to let go of that ideal, and I have to deal with what is right in front of me. I have to look at the reality in all the good, bad, ugly, indifferent that it is, and bring all the skills, all the knowledge, all the resources, all the resiliencies that I have as a human being. I need to bring those to this situation, because I can do that. When I let go of that ideal, I let go of that pain. And when I let go of that pain, I can respond out of a place of love. And when I respond out of a place of love, I am the best human being that I can be. So, that was kind of a lot. I don't know. But that's just something that's been resonating with me lately, that self-compassion, knowing what I'm holding on to, realizing that, identifying it, letting it go. If it's not serving me, if it's not helping me show up as a human being that I want to be, whether that human being is a partner or a friend or a coworker or a mother or a daughter, if that painfulness is not helping me get there, I'm going to let that go. And I might have to let it go over and over and over and over and over again. And that's okay, because a lot of this emotional stuff, it's not a box you check, it's a process you go through. And you let it go once, you let it go again, and you make a practice of that letting go, and it gets easier every time. And letting go of that pain lets you respond out of love. And then it's interesting how much simpler everything gets. Things just become way more clear. Priorities become way more clear. Your motivations become more clear. And everything gets simplified, down to the point of just realizing that you're an adult, and if you don't want to wear socks today, you don't have to wear socks today. Simple as that. No one told me I have to wear socks. I don't want to wear socks. So here we are, sitting here sockless. So that's the challenge. That's the challenge for today, is figure out, what are you holding on to that's causing you pain? What ideals are you holding on to that are causing you pain? You know, those ideals help you shape and mold a life, but they can also not match up with reality and not help you move forward and show up as a good human being. So what are you holding on to, and how can you let it go? Think about those things. Quick reminder, later on today, we're going to have an open recovery meeting at 4. However, between now and then, we're going to post a video or some kind of something shenanigan-y about how to log on to Zoom. So if you're not familiar with that, we'll help you, kind of walk you through those different options. So hopefully you can start joining us at 4 o'clock for our open recovery meetings. And then, so stay tuned to Hancock Helps for any important updates. Let me know if there are any topics you would like me to cover in future recovery check-ins. Tomorrow's probably going to involve something with ships. I don't know. One other thing. If you watched a couple days ago, I was asking about toothpaste versus tooth soap. No definitive answer on that yet. Apparently, it's always been called toothpaste. But apparently they also used to make it from bones. So that was a thing. Anyway, so the toothpaste versus tooth soap, jury's still out on that one. Who knows? Tomorrow's recovery check-in probably going to involve ships, because I really like ships. I don't know why, but they're a cool thing. But we will, again, we'll post a little how-to on Zoom this afternoon. And we'll have an open recovery meeting at 4. And then we will be back for Tuesday's recovery check-in tomorrow at noon. So I will see all of you then. Stay safe and keep your hearts and minds resilient.